Imagine this. You sit in a classroom for 12 years, sometimes more. Teachers tell you the same story over and over. Study hard, get good grades, go to university if you can, then land a good job with a steady paycheck. Work there for 30 or 40 years, save a little each month in the bank. One day, retire comfortably, live happily ever after. That sounds safe, that sounds smart, that sounds like the path most of us were pushed toward. But what if I told you that this exact story, this plan that schools drilled into our heads, is one of the biggest financial lies ever taught? Not a small mistake, not an outdated idea, a deliberate setup that keeps most people running on a treadmill their whole lives, never truly getting ahead. And the craziest part, they removed the real lesson on purpose. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will see exactly what they left out, why it matters, and how understanding it changes everything. Let us go back to where it starts. When you were a child, maybe 6 or 7 years old, your parents, your teachers, everyone said the same thing. Education is the key to success. Get good grades so you can get into a good secondary school, then a good university, then a good job. The message was clear. Your future depends on how well you perform in the system. So you studied, you memorized facts, you followed instructions, you raised your hand when asked, you waited for permission to speak, you learned to fit in, to follow the rules, to avoid mistakes that would lower your scores. That training was not accidental. The modern school system we know today was shaped during the industrial age, over 100 years ago. Factories needed workers who showed up on time, did what they were told, repeated tasks without complaining, and did not question the boss too much. Schools were designed to produce exactly that, reliable employees. Think about it. In most classrooms, what gets rewarded? Obedience. Following the curriculum exactly. Getting the right answer, even if there are better ways to solve a problem. Creativity, sometimes praised, but only if it fits inside the lines. Questioning the system itself, rarely encouraged. Now fast forward to when you finish school. You enter the job market. You apply for positions. You write a CV that lists your qualifications, your degrees, your obedience to the system. Employers love that. They want people who can follow procedures, meet deadlines, and not rock the boat. But here is where the lie begins to crack. That good job they promised, it comes with limits built in. You trade your time for money. You get paid only when you show up. If you get sick, you lose income. If the company downsizes, you are out. Your boss decides your raise, your hours, your future. You are an employee. Your financial security depends on someone else's decision. Schools never told you the full picture. They never explained that there is another path, one that the richest people in the world follow. Instead of trading time for money, they build assets that make money while they sleep. Businesses, investments, properties, systems that generate income without constant effort. They taught you to be smart at being an employee. They did not teach you to be smart with money itself. Let us break down what schools actually skip when it comes to money. First, they almost never teach you how money really works. Compound interest, sometimes mentioned in math class as a formula, but rarely explained as a superpower for building wealth, or a silent killer when it works against you in debt. Inflation, not covered deeply. You learn it eats away at savings quietly every year, but not how to protect yourself. Taxes, basic at best. How the rich use legal structures to pay less, never discussed. Second, they push the idea that a high salary equals security. Get a degree in engineering, medicine, law, something stable, and you will be set. But look around. Doctors burn out. Engineers get replaced by automation. Lawyers face competition. Salaries rise, but so do living costs. Many high earners still live paycheck to paycheck because they never learn to make their money work for them. Third, and this is huge, they train you to think like an employee, not an owner. In school, you wait for instructions. In business, owners give instructions. In school, mistakes get punished with bad grades. In entrepreneurship, mistakes are lessons if you learn fast. Schools grade you on individual performance. Real wealth often comes from teams, leverage, scaling ideas. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, puts it plainly. He had 2 dads. One was highly educated, a PhD, a government employee, smart but always struggling financially. The other was an entrepreneur with less formal education, but he built businesses and assets. Kiyosaki says schools teach the mindset of the first dad, employee thinking. Work hard for money, seek security, avoid risk. But the second dad taught him the opposite. Make money work for you. Take calculated risks. Build assets. Why does the system do this? Why not teach everyone both sides? Here is the uncomfortable truth. If every student learned how money really moves, how to create value at scale, how to use debt intelligently, how to build passive income, how to spot opportunities, the world would look different. Fewer people would be willing to trade 40 years of their life for a modest retirement. More people would start businesses, invest early, question the status quo. The system needs workers, reliable, predictable workers who pay taxes, consume products, borrow money, and keep the economy spinning in a certain way. Teaching millions how to escape the employee trap would disrupt that. So the lesson gets left out, not by some evil conspiracy in a dark room, but by inertia, outdated priorities, focus on standardized tests, lack of teacher training, and a curriculum designed for a different era. Look at the evidence. In many countries, including places like the United States and even parts of Africa, only a handful of states or regions require a full personal finance course in high school. Most students graduate knowing more about ancient history than how to read a bank statement, avoid debt traps, or invest. In Nigeria, our own schools push the same story. Cram for WAEC and JAM. Get into university. Get a white-collar job. But with inflation eating the naira, high unemployment even for graduates, and bank charges that quietly drain small accounts, that old plan fails more people every year. So what is the lesson they removed on purpose? The one that could have changed lives. It is this: wealth is not about how much you earn. It is about how much you keep, how hard it works for you, and how you multiply it without trading more of your time. Schools teach you to earn. The missing lesson is ownership and leverage. Own assets. Use other people's time, money, and systems to create value. That is how real financial freedom happens. Think of it like this. An employee says, "I cannot afford it." An owner asks, "How can I afford it?" An employee sees a problem and waits for a raise. An owner sees a problem and builds a solution that pays him repeatedly. You were never taught that, because if you were, you might stop being content with just a salary. You might start building. And when enough people start building, the whole game changes. Now you know the lie. You know what was missing. The question is, what will you do with it? Most people hear this and go back to their routine. Maybe you, but a few, get curious, angry, motivated. You start asking better questions. You read books schools never assigned. You talk to people who escaped the trap. You take small steps toward ownership. That is where real change starts. If this opened your eyes, stick around, because the next episode digs even deeper into why the system wants you to love that salary job. We will contrast the employee life with the asset owner life. You will see the hidden reasons the rich push the get a good job story so hard, and how breaking free from it can rewrite your future. Do not miss it. The truth about salary jobs is not what you think. See you in the next one.